To be on the brink of death, the only thing keeping you alive is that which is also killing you. To use that which is killing you and stare death in the face. You mustn't be afraid. For you are a Lich. Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today's build is the Low Life Lich. Now before I get into it, I know what you're thinking, Low Life, oh man, this is another Insanguious and Last Steps of the Living Boots Ward build. That is incorrect. We will not be running Ward on this build. We will indeed be running Low Life. The reason we're not going to be running Ward along with our Low Life is because we're going to be utilizing Death Seal, and Death Seal just gets rid of all of your Ward, so there's no point in even getting it. However, we do want to have the benefits of all the damage multipliers that we get while being Low Life, while being transformed, and while having Death Seal active, especially when you're at very, very low life. We're also going to convert all of our Leech into damage. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, if you don't Leech, and you're running a low life build, and you have no ward generation, how are you staying alive? Well, we're going to be using Aura of Decay to be keeping ourselves alive by having it heal us for an amount of our missing life. Of course, if you have the poison stacks being applied by Aura of Decay, it will kill you instantly. So we're going to switch it over into a apply armor shred, and that way it doesn't do any damage to us, but it does put us in a vulnerable spot to where we can get one hit and we'll die in one hit. However, it also means that we'll have so many damage multipliers. Since we'll be running low life, we'll be able to stay and reperform basically infinitely, and we'll be able to have Death Seal active, that you're also going to one-shot all the mobs. So it becomes a who can kill who first type playstyle, and it really lets you live on the edge. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the skills. For skills, we're running Bone Curse, Death Seal, Aura of Decay, Reperform, and Transplant. For Bone Curse, we're using this to apply Bone Curse on hits. Most of those are going to come from when we Transplant and have all of our detonations go off hitting enemies in an area. For this, we have 5 points in Iron Maiden to make it do more damage, 3 points in Brittle Bones that'll give it a kill threshold of 12%, 1 point in Ruptured Corpse so that enemies that are killed with Bone Curse have a chance to explode, doing damage to nearby enemies around them, and then 5 points in Cursed Limbs is going to make it to where after you cast it for the next 5 seconds, any hits that you do with any skills will now apply Bone Curse. We have 1 point in Acute Infliction for to do even more damage, and 1 point in Illusion of Pain so that it will always crit, do 150% more damage, and this is what gives it that 6-second cooldown to where you can just put it on auto cast so that it'll go off every 6 seconds and you'll apply it for the next 5. We also have 2 points in Crippling Anguish so that will slow enemies hit by Bone Curse, and 1 point in Cultist Fervor so that it has a little bit of mana efficiency and increased cast speed. Now, both of these we don't really need, so feel free to throw that point into Crippling Anguish or anywhere else that you see fit on the tree. For Death Seal, normally you don't run Death Seal in a low life build because it caps your life, making it to where you can't get above that, and it also gets rid of any ward that you have. So in a low life build, it's kind of bad to use it unless you have a way to Leech to counteract it and keep yourself pretty full on life. Now, we also don't have Leech because we weren't converting that to damage, so this is a very, very risky build, and most people won't play it. However, it is totally possible to do it. You can beat all the monolith bosses, you can push a couple hundred waves in the arena, you can basically go forever as long as you dodge the ranged attacks and just keep yourself from getting hit and kill things before they get the chance to kill you, because you will basically kill almost anything in the game in one hit, unless it's like, you know, the Emperor. We have 5 points in Corrupted Consciousness so that we have increased damage per 3% missing health. This is a multiplicative damage increase, so if you have 1000% damage and you have 99% missing life, that means that here you're getting 165% increased life. or 165% increased damage, and that's a 1.65 multiplier against the damages that you already have. So if you have 1,000% damage, you multiply that by 2.65 or 165% increase, and you're going to end up with about 2.6 thousand percent damage in whatever category that was. And that's what you'll see happen here when we activate it, is we go from about 1,000% damage to 2,500 plus. We even end up with like 3,300% spell damage when everything is active. We have 1 point in Mortal Pulse, so that we now cast Death Wave every second while we are sealed, although this reduces the damage of Death Wave, and then 5 points in Tachycardia, so that we have 60% increased frequency of the Wave of Death. We also have 3 points in Moratorium, so that we have increased duration, the maximum that we can get. 4 points in Carrion Breath, so that our Wave of Death area is as large as it can get. With our last points going in Devouring Release, so that we release a Hungering Soul every second, and 1 point in Insatiable Soul, so that it does it a little bit more frequently. That Hungering Soul will apply the Bone Curse on hit, which just gets in a little bit more damage, especially against single target. It's going to allow you to get multiple hits all at the same time. For Aura of Decay, this is going to be the skill that's keeping us alive. Now remember, we have no Leech, and we have no source of health regen. In fact, we just have health decay, and we have no ward to keep us alive. So we are using Aura of Decay to heal us for a percentage of our missing life, and this is going to let us balance at a low life percentage and keep us from being knocked out of Reaper form, unless we get hit, of course. We have 4 points in Absence of Life, so that 8% of our missing health is healed every second. This is why it's very important to stack as much health as possible so that you get healed for more, which will help your survivability at least a little bit. We also have 1 point in Chill to the Bone for some chill chance, 1 point in Putrid Bombs for some putrid bombs, 1 point in Undertow to give ourselves some slow chance, 3 points in Corrosive Aura, so that enemies affected by Aura of Decay will have reduced armor, 120 in total, 1 point in Decryptify, so that we'll convert all of the poison stacks we would be doing instead to Armor Shred. This will make it so that Aura of Decay does not kill us. You will notice that if you do not have this node, Aura of Decay will poison you and you will die extremely quickly. So what could also kill you quickly can also be your life and savior by converting it to Armor Shred, so that instead of it killing you, it just reduces your armor so that something else can come along and tag you out. We have 3 points in Rot Weaver for some ailment frequency, 1 point in Arcanian Poison, so that the ailment frequency continues to climb, and your self-poison, or in this case, self-armor shred frequency, will continue to climb, although we seem to be capped at 92 stacks and not get any higher than that. Might be a bug, they might have done that so you don't lag the game out and crash. We have 4 points in Plague Rat, so that we have increased area. You want as much area as possible because you want to kill things as far away as possible before they have a chance to tap you out. And 1 point in Inoculation for that less poison damage taken. This point's pretty much pointless since we're not doing poison damage anymore with the Aura of Decay, so feel free to throw that 1 point anywhere else on the tree that you'd like. For Reaper form, we're using Reaper form for a few things. One, it increases the amount of leech that you get. Since you're increasing the leech and we've converted that to damage, it means it's increasing the damage that you get. There's also a bunch of global damages that you get, 280% increased damage in fact, and you can also get some additional spell damage on top of that. And you can also get some healing when you reap. So if you hit enemies with reap, you'll be healed for a flat amount, and that of course is not cancelled out by the leech. You also basically get a free life because while you're in Reaper form, if something does one tap you and knock you out, they'll just knock you back into your good old human form. Alright, we have 2 points in Mistress of Decay for less health drain, 4 points in Harbinger of Blood so that we have 40% increased health leech, and when we reap and hit enemies, we'll gain 8 health for each hit. We have 2 points in Reaper's Ascendance for increased spell damage per stack. We'll gain stacks every 5 seconds. You'll be in Reaper form long enough to gain all the stacks. That is granted that you don't get tapped out. 4 points in Sulphurous Sword gives you 80% increased damage. 4 points in Reaper's Curse gives you 100% more damage. And 4 points in Death Sword gives you another 100% damage as long as you're at low health, which will be at all times because you'll always be on the brink of dying. For Transplant, we're going to use this as our movement skill. It's also going to do a bunch of detonations, and all of those detonations will also apply Bone Curse on hit, which means it's just a bunch of damage in a very small area of effect, which means it's great for killing bosses and single targets. We have 2 points in Acolyte's Fervor, 3 points in Dance of Blood, 1 point in Rain of Blood, 3 points in Depravity for those extra detonations, 2 points in Scarlet Rain to increase the detonation's area of effect, 2 points in Black Mirror for more detonations, this time at departure, 1 point in Sticky Blood so that detonations leave a pool of blood. This node does work. 3 points in Siphon so that we'll be healed for 9% of our maximum health every second by each pull, and since we'll be making about 7 of them, we should technically be healed for 63% of our life per second. However, I can tell you I'm pretty sure this node is broken because it doesn't heal us at all, or at least I didn't notice a difference when we stand on them. However, because it felt cool, sounded cool, looked cool, we decided to put them there. I do recommend, though, if you also find what I have found and that they don't work, feel free to stick those 3 points anywhere else on the tree. And then our last 3 points go into Bone Armor so that we get that 12% less damage taken. The armor is, well, useless considering we're about negative 9,000 armor. 300 doesn't do much, but the 12% less damage taken is 12% less damage taken, so it's very nice to have. For passives, we have 21 points in the base Acolyte class with 8 points in Blood Aura, 5 points in Blood Pact, and 8 points in Forbidden Knowledge, 0 points in the Necromancer, and 90 points in the Mastered Lich, with 8 points in Crippling Insight, 8 points in Survival of the Cruel, 8 points in Dance with Death, 5 points in Grasp of Fate, 1 point in Hollow Lich, which is what converts all of our health leech into increased damage at 10 times its value, 8 points in Apocrypha, 8 points in Unclosing Wounds, 2 points in 3 Plagues, 5 points in Necrotic Energy, 4 points in Deathbringer, 5 points in Clairvoyant Insight, 5 points in Ageless Ascetic, 5 points in Soul Mal, and 10 points in Mind over Body. And the final 8 points go into Corrosive Consciousness. For our items, we are running 2 types of idols. We stole the idols off of our Necromancer and got the increased and flat health, and we're going to be running 4 of those. And then we also have the Ornate Bone Idol to give us increased damage while transformed and increased spell damage while at low health. Luckily, we're going to be doing both of those things since we're transformed and on the brink of death. For our items, we are only wearing 1 unique, and you don't have to wear it, but we are wearing the Bleeding Heart, which because of that percent of damage leeches health gives you a pretty decent boost in damage. However, feel free to swap that out for just a crafted amulet. You'll lose a little bit of damage. However, you also won't be inflicted with bleed every time that you cast Transplant and Bone Curse. For our gear, we're going with a 2-handed sorcery staff. We're going with spell damage, physical damage. That's all for the Bone Curse. We also have a chance to chill on hit, and we have some added mana. You don't need the added mana, so feel free to throw on another chance to do anything on hit. For our chest piece, we have Intelligence and Vitality. You want to stack as much Vitality on everything that you can. Int, unless you can put Health Leech on it. If you can put Health Leech on it, you want to put Health Leech on it. Here we went for percent of physical damage leached as health. This is the shared minion physical leech, and what that does is that gives you a huge boost in damage because not only is the physical damage that you would leech transferred into damage, but the physical damage from the minion is transferred as well, and we also have 5.7 of damage leech as health while transformed, so we have even more damage while transformed. Now if I take this off, you can see we jump down to about 623. The reason my numbers are jumping back and forth is we're bouncing in between low life and above life right now thanks to the healing of aura, but you can see we're at 623 and 703. If I throw this back on, you're at 726 and 806. So you gain about 103% global damage just by wearing a chest piece, which is pretty good. Now remember that 103% gain there, you're going to get even more while you're transformed the moment that I transform here, other than the 380% that we got out of the tree, or 280%. You can see we jump up and we just have some massive amounts here, and then of course once you death seal, it's just even crazier. But that's why you want those affixes on the gear. If you're having survivability issues, you can always do increased health if you have that instead, but for more damage, these are the stats you want. For the helm, we have the Profane Hood, we have Int, Vite, and of course the same affixes of more damage leech as health. For the rings, we went with Vitality. We also went with Hybrid Health Leech. Then we have Health and Dodge. For the belt, we went with increased dodge rating. We have dodge rating on potion use, so if you are getting hit or know that you're about to have, a whole screen of axes just got thrown at you, hit a potion, run away. Hopefully you dodge enough of them to stay alive. For our other ring, we have Vite, we have more hybrid health, we have flat health, and then we have dodge rating for our gloves, vitality, more hybrid health leech, flat health, and hybrid health. For the boots, we have speed, int, Vite, and hybrid health, and then for the stained tome, we have percent damage leeches health on hit, Vite, flat health, and some armor. The armor's pretty much useless, but so is about every other stat on that, but you can add whatever you want to it. For our character sheet, as you can see, we're not running any resistances. We're currently sitting at, well, negative a huge amount of armor. Not that it really matters, and all of that's coming from the fact that we have negative 91 to 92 stacks. That's because we're applying it, every second that Orb of Decay is active. But as you can see for our damages, while we're transformed here, and as you can see, we're not getting knocked out of Reaper. We've just been sitting here balancing for quite a while now, the entire time I've been talking, and you can sit in it pretty long, so about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and of course, it can be more if you have more health and you're getting healed for more, if you put the other 2 points in the Reaper form so that the health drain is less, and things like that will keep you in it for a little bit longer. And if you're reaping around, you're also getting health on reap. That also helps keep you in it for a little bit longer. Now, back to the character sheet. As you can see for our damages, not transformed, not in Reaper, and not with Death Seal active, we're sitting between 725 and 805. The 805 is when you're actually low life, the 725 is when you're not. You can see that we're bouncing right in that 35% range, and that's why it bounces back and forth. However, the moment that I activate Reaper form, you can see we bump up to over 1000%. Our spell damage, which is the one that matters, gets up to almost 1600. You also get that little bit of a boost every 5 seconds that you're in Reaper form. You can see it keeps jumping a little bit. And then the moment that I throw down the Death Seal, instantly you jump even higher. Here we're at 2700% spell damage, and that makes the Death Wave just hit super, super hard. Bone Curse hits super hard, and it's just going to let you annihilate everything, hopefully before it annihilates you. Alright, let's go ahead and get into some gameplay.